Welcome to this short webinar on worker surveys, which we are hosting here today for best aquaculture practices and best seafood practices certified processing plants. We will be conducting the webinar in English, but we will also be making available executive summaries in a variety of languages available from your usual local Global Seafood Alliance contact. We will start by explaining why we are hosting this session and why Global Seafood Alliance is developing voluntary worker surveys for the seafood sector, starting with processing plants. Since formation, the ethos of the Global Seafood Alliance has been to connect producers with marketplaces around the world. Our BAP and latterly our BSP, Best Seafood Practices certification schemes, have been a foundation for this connection. A key role for us is to represent these schemes to marketplaces, which helps create demand for certified producers. 2 years ago, we created an international working group which attracted many of the major retailers from around the globe. We have met many times online and in person, the latter at prestigious head offices such as Consumer Goods Forum and our own event, Responsible Seafood Summit. And the focus has been on managing social risks in seafood supply chains. And anonymous worker surveys were quickly identified as an important evolution for advancing responsibly produced seafood. Many retailers already utilise worker surveys at a regional level, and it was clear that an option to access worker surveys throughout the BAP and BSP estate at a global level would be welcomed. We identified a specialist organisation to help us develop this voluntary survey tool, and we have already piloted the surveys with our partner Labour Solutions at the processing plant level. You can see here the kind of topics that are covered in the surveys. Many of these are present in the Seafood Processing Standard, and as a certified processing plant you will be very familiar with these topics such as health and safety, fair wages, responsible recruitment as examples. That said, the process and the survey does have some customization, and 3 additional questions can be included that may be relevant to your particular processing plant, your particular area, and according to your own wishes. So an immediate question might be, why conduct anonymous worker surveys? Since we developed and piloted this tool, every producer we have spoken with who have either already deployed worker surveys or the producers who were involved in our piloting, they have all reported overwhelmingly positive feedback. It's an opportunity to hear directly from your workforce via a completely independent and specialist operator who is highly experienced in managing the process in many different languages and deploying it in the best way for optimum worker participation. The process helps encourage increased engagement with workforces, highlights valuable worker perspectives, helps identify potential issues, and can help strengthen performance over time and worker retention and stability within your workforces. As already mentioned, worker surveys are increasingly popular with major retailers, and those producers who deploy such surveys can benefit from closer relationships with major customers and develop long-term relationships that create a great platform for investment and growth. So let's talk a bit about how they are deployed and what's actually involved in undertaking such a survey. If you were to have interest in joining this voluntary development, you can contact your usual local GSA representative and we'll arrange a kick-off meeting to confirm practicalities, plant location, and very importantly, the different languages present in your workforce and the size of your workforce. A plan and a cost will be drawn up to cover communication materials to promote the survey, including QR codes which the workers can scan anytime over a 2-week period. So they have plenty of time to respond. There are some extra support mechanisms available by agreement with Labour Solutions to cover the increased communication or any increased communication requirements, or even on-site support and on-site visits for assisting workforce with access to the survey if needed. Smartphone use is very high these days, but assisted tablet support, if required, can be arranged at an extra cost. After the survey, after the survey is complete, a really good report is generated that explains in detail the methodology, the most important findings, and all the results and recommendations for follow-up. There is a scoring system, which you can see here on the screen, for each question, and it is adjusted for whether it is a positively phrased question. For example, I feel safe, we would like to see strongly agree as the answer, or negatively phrased question, I feel unsafe, to which we would like to see strongly disagree with the answer. The system can then report a 5-point answer value across a 100-point scale, and we use 3 simple categories: great, 92.9 and above; good, 78.6 to 92.9; and an improvement opportunity, a score below 78.6. So having a mix of positive and negative questions helps respondents to be more actively engaged and give good feedback. And Labour Solutions are really good at doing this and have learned to create a good balance in the questions. Everything is structured around celebrating success or identifying opportunity to improve. So, with the final report, you will have a summary of all the categories for which the questions cover, and worker perception within those categories, which you can see in the left-hand column, covering wages, opportunity for development, communication from management, health and safety, serious issues such as harassment and abuse, access to support on issues, and overall well-being. In this example here for 2 plants, there were strengths and high scores in fair wages and development opportunity, communication and also worker support, but some gaps were identified: harassment problems, well-being concerns, and health and safety, for example. And so opportunities to improve were identified. Again, good results can be celebrated, opportunities for improvement are highlighted, which allows the root causes to be identified by management, action to be taken, and communicated to the workforce. As we said earlier, for processing plants who have deployed such surveys, management have really benefited from the process, workers have engaged well, and we have examples where everyone looks forward to the annual survey. So if you have interest in getting involved in this voluntary project, please email our human rights specialist, Amy McGann, who will be joining the webinar shortly to help take any questions you may have, or you can follow up with your usual Global Seafood Alliance contact. As far as costs are concerned, it really depends on the level of support that may be required to undertake a survey and the amount of translation. But as a broad brush indication, a cost somewhere between $1,500 and $3,500 per plant. Thank you for joining today, and we will now take any questions you may have, which can be submitted on the webinar platform. We trust you found this introduction to worker surveys of interest. As we said earlier, this webinar is being recorded, and we will make summary translations available in a variety of languages. And if you would like to learn more or get involved, please do get in touch. Amy, I have a question which actually we didn't touch in the presentation. Welcome, Amy, by the way. Thank you for joining. Can we just ask, approximately how long is the process from start to finish, both to initially set up, and then what would you advise, in terms of repeating? How often would you undertake this exercise?
So the first time a facility conducts one of these anonymous worker surveys, the process is a bit longer because there needs to be some additional back and forth. So I'd say from the time a facility expresses interest to when the survey can be conducted, it's usually a couple of months. And then facilities could choose to do it on an annual basis or every other year to get a good sense of how their workforce is feeling, and to help identify, as you said, the things that are going really well and the things that could be improved.
We are saying this is a worthwhile process. We referenced a number of retailers on a regional basis undertaking this process. Are there in the public domain, are there many documented cases where they're kind of proven independently as being very successful?
There are various case studies. The third-party provider that we're working with on these surveys is Labor Solutions, and on their website they have some case studies of surveys that they've done both in the seafood sector as well as other sectors. And there are other providers out there who have done worker surveys, and they have case studies as well.
Okay, maybe we could reference some of these, or if anybody has interest in seeing where they are and studying them, we can provide the locations. So I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, so I think we'll close the webinar. For those who are watching the recording, if you do have further questions, please get in touch either directly with Amy or via your usual Global Seafood Alliance contact, and we'll do our level best to answer them in the best way. So Amy, do you have anything else to add? If not, we'll close the webinar.
No, thank you for joining.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks everybody. Bye for now.